Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
With heavy hearts from Houston, Texas, this is the Sports Trapp Podcast. My name is Christopher Rodriguez, a.k.a. the Brown Mamba. To the left of me, my very best friend for over 20 years, our host, John, the Dagger Trapp, and of course, the man who's making sure that we're always on point, the very talented Khoa
Bryant, dude.
Tonight,
Bryant.
undoubtedly be one of the toughest shows that we ever had to do up to this point. This past Sunday, Kobe Bean Bryant died tragically at the age of 41 in a helicopter crash along with 8 others, including his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna. They were en route to a youth basketball tournament, and today we will celebrate Kobe's legacy as a player, a father, and a man. We will share our favorite Kobe moments and discuss when we became fans and how he impacted our lives forever. This is our tribute to the Black Mamba and the little one, Mambacita.
This is definitely a monumental loss for the entire basketball community, but I think even more than that, just the world, definitely for us as fans, basketball fans. All of our hearts are simply broken. We hope today we could bring you, the viewers, and each other some peace and comfort, maybe a little bit of therapeutic support as we kind of look back on his life and his legacy. Can't promise you that there won't be any tears, but can promise some laughter and maybe a whole lot of love, definitely as we pay tribute to one of the true GOATs of all time, Kobe Bryant.
Kobe was a generational basketball talent. In many ways, he was our generation's Michael Jordan. A cutthroat, clutch performer with legendary workout regimens. No one worked harder. No one was more intense. No one was more dialed in than Kobe Bryant. 5 championships, 15 All-Star Game appearances, 4 All-Star Game MVP awards, 2 NBA Final MVP awards, and a single regular season MVP award. I failed to mention he scored 81 points in a single game. 2 Olympic gold medals. He was not just successful. He was just as successful off the court as he was a businessman, philanthropist. He co-wrote a children's book series, and he won Best Animated Short at the 90th Academy Awards for Dear Basketball, which was based on a poem of the same name that he wrote following his retirement from Los Angeles Lakers at the end of 2015-2016. But beyond those accomplishments and records, he was a loving husband and father. Josh, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to direct us in this very challenging discussion that we're about to have. I know we all have been heartbroken and have all experienced the pain of losing Kobe Bryant, and not to mention his daughter and the 7 others who died tragically. But what I want to do right now is definitely just sit down and have a discussion. And what I want to do is I want to ask you both. I want to know, when did you know you became a Kobe Bryant fan? Your favorite memory of Kobe Bryant, and then most importantly, how he's impacted your life. Actually, start with you, Khoa. So when did you become a Kobe Bryant fan?
I'll be honest, Kobe, I've hated for a long time.
Nice.
I think just being, like a Houston fan and just diehard Rockets, Kobe was always somebody that we feared and never wanted to play. He was just a beast on the court. I don't think it was really until later in Kobe's career, and I'll be honest, I started out as a very casual fan of the sport. I would say I would still consider myself a casual fan. But the more I grew to watch just, basketball for the game of basketball and for the love of the sport, the more I grew and respected Kobe Bryant. That goes for everyone else that I hated back then too. Karl Malone and John Stockton and Steve Nash and the Spurs. God, I hated the Spurs, but just I think all those players and those teams, they were great for the game of basketball. And then I realized what Kobe was for the game of basketball, because I think he was a true student of the game. And no matter how many championships he won and all the accolades he got, he never lost that student mentality, the Mamba mentality, and I started to see that for me personally, I guess, later in his career. I always known he was a once-in-a-lifetime generational talent, and there were always the talks of the GOAT conversation between him, LeBron, everyone comparing to Michael, of course. And I've always recognized his talent, but, one of the big ones definitely was when he got injured and tore his Achilles, and that was I think that was a huge moment. That was telling of him as a person, as a player, and how he, just watching this, like, going back and watching the highlights nowadays of that game. I mean, it's crazy how he stayed in there. And then to finish off, to shoot those 2 free throws before and walking off on his own. If that doesn't speak to you, like, as who he was as a person, I think going back and seeing that now, I think you definitely holds a little more weight than it did back then.
Yeah, he was supposed to be carried off.
Yeah, but I think that's the type of person he was, man. But one of the things I think, even though it is a more recent memory, of course, things that really stuck out to me the most and speaks to me as a Kobe fan was what he did after his basketball career. And you mentioned it with him creating that movie with, I believe his name is Glenn Keane, is one who directed it into animated short, who he won an Oscar with, which is
unheard of,
insane.
Incredible.
You know how many people work their entire lives to try to win something like that, to win an Oscar or a Grammy or an Emmy, or not to say that those awards really mean all that much. Like, I don't want to say that it holds that much weight. Like, oh, if you don't win an Oscar, you're not doing something well in the creative world. But I think for him to have done that, that's just speaks to how much he broke barriers. Even outside of the game of basketball. Yeah, he really transcended past what the sport was. He was a worldwide phenomenon. And yeah, just watching that movie, of course, and then seeing what he could do creatively and what what was it really let you see into his mind, just or outside of what he could put on the basketball court. And I think that, to me, that truly cemented my respect for him and my love for Kobe. And I think that, and of course, I think it did help that he was out of the game already, and
he couldn't affect us.
Yeah,
He couldn't beat the Rockets anymore.
But yeah, so I say for me, that's where a big part of my respect and my love for Kobe is of course what he did on the court, but a lot of it is what he did off the court as well. So
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy. I was thinking, Michael Jordan didn't win an Oscar for your favorite movie, John.
Space Jam.
Space Jam didn't win
Space
an
Jam
Oscar?
Definitely did not win an Oscar. John, too. Actually, same thing. When did you become a Kobe fan? What's one of your favorite moments, and how has he impacted your life?
Well, to be honest with you, until last night, I didn't know if I could do this show. And in some ways, I still can't. But I'm going to do this out of respect to one of the greatest of all time. And also, man, I what can I say to give this man justice? What can I say to give the justice of who he was as a man, as a husband, and as a father? Kobe Bryant. In some ways I feel insignificant. Like I'm not worthy enough because I didn't have that player-fan relationship. I didn't have a personal relationship. Those people deserve so much more of my condolences before I'm even supposed to feel bad. Like, I hurt, but it just doesn't seem right for me to sit here and admit that, because you have people that he's touched in his life personally, left indelible marks. He has his family, and I completely respect that. But I just want to give him the justice that he deserves, and the justice that they deserve, to know that my heart's with them, that my condolences, for whatever that means, is with them. And I'm talking about even L.A. I was watching Ice Cube, and he was saying that Kobe Bryant was a one thing that the entire city could just basically all agree on. He was a glue for that city.
Yeah.
You know, from what I could tell, LA can be divided, you know, through teams, through streets, neighborhoods, race. And Kobe Bryant was the universal. He was literally the glue. So, with that being said, I don't want to forget. I want to mention and have it understood that it wasn't just Kobe. It was 7 other people there with families, husbands, wives, children, and Gianna. That's what really gets me. I was saying at the beginning that I didn't know if I could do this show, but I let it out emotionally, and I woke up and I was okay. And the one thing that I could never bring myself to really grasp was the fact that he lost his daughter. Me being a father of a beautiful young girl, not to mention of a smart, intelligent, amazing son. That right there is what had me questioning things. That is just the innocence that's lost is so frustrating. Well, it was a horrific accident. It was one beyond comprehension. I know when I found out, all I could do was try to figure out, try to prove myself that this was a hoax. You know, really, like it was just, all right, I need some confirmation, because this is not real. This is not real. And through all the misinformation that was out there, which was horrific, we never got the news that it wasn't Kobe Bryant and everybody involved. So I decided this is a show that not only for me, not only for LA, but also for my kids to know, because I want them to know what kind of man he is, or he was, and also, you know, why I was in this shape that I was in the past few days. And not only do they may not understand what it is. They're young. They don't know the full scope of it. They weren't affected like I was. But I want this show to be a memorial for them to understand who ultimately he became. Unfortunately, I can't speak directly, so I'm gonna be a little bit indirect when I kind of talk about this. So I'll say it like this. To my son and my daughter, in these days, you may not have known how much Kobe and Gianna's untimely death has affected me. You probably don't understand the scope of what has happened these past few days. But when you're older, I give you this as a gift. It will help you understand why I push you and I challenge you to be the best you can possibly be. And I refuse to let you settle for anything less. That is the Mamba mentality. You see, the man that passed away on January 29th, 2020, he made me change the way I thought about sports and life forever. My stepfather, who I consider to this day as my real father, and the real man that raised me and showed me what it was to be a man. So much so that he adopted me and I adopted his last name. Therefore, my name is John Trapp, and this is also part of the title of this show itself. It's one of the most proudest things that I've ever accomplished as a man outside of my immediate family that I've ever done with my life. I truly believe that I'm here because of him. But when I was young, growing up, I never had my biological father around. So here I am with all these insecurities that come with that. In a way, I was looking up to athletes, actors, as father figures and role models. I mean, I would go out and hoop like MJ. I walk like the Fresh Prince. I even talk smack like Martin. I emulated them. But at some point, Charles Barkley told me neither he nor other athletes are role models. And I realized right then and there, athletes aren't above anyone. They're all human and they all make mistakes. I have no real heroes eliminating through the TV screen. It was if there were, it was all a scripted act. It was all in a box, wrapped up in a bow. But then there came this brash kid from straight out of high school with the audacity to actually think that he could emulate Michael Jordan for real on the NBA court. Now, you would think that he became my favorite player. Actually, I hated him. He had the nerve to challenge the greatest. I was like, oh, nah. You see, he actually walked like MJ. He had the fadeaway jumper like MJ. He even chewed his gum the same way MJ did. To me, he was brash and cocky. You see, he didn't care for the critics. He didn't care that he was only 17 years old. He wasn't supposed to be that good. While everybody was going to the club, he was in his room, hotel room, studying the game. He wasn't cocky. He was confident. He knew if he put in that work, he was going to get to where he needed to get to be who he needed to be to on that court. See, I didn't know that then. My hate was towards his audaciousness that it wouldn't allow me. I was that beat LA fan through and through. Now, you may think this is counterintuitive, but I didn't become a fan until he was actually at his lowest moment. Now, you may think you know about what happened, And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about? But you actually don't know. There's only 2 people that actually know exactly what happened. So I'm not going to go and assume anything. But I will say, what made me change my view on Kobe wasn't his mistake. It was his rebound. It was a way he not made up, but he came through that. He didn't run from his mistakes. He ran towards them. In life, in basketball, same way. He saw a deficiency in his game. He worked on that deficiency. He broke his right hand. He started working on his left hand. Shooting jumpers with his left hand. He then appeared in front of the whole world, stood front and center. He allowed himself to be vulnerable in that moment, apologetic. It was actually the first time I had seen somebody so high on a pedestal that didn't run, that didn't make excuses. You see, I learned early on that there's nobody perfect. But TV, NBA, NFL, baseball would all have you believe that the greatest are all perfect model citizens. But I'm cynical as they come. And I know that's just disingenuous. But I get it. I know why they do what they do. I get it. But my perception changed that day, not only for him, but for who I cheer for and why I cheer for them. I no longer just cheer for the athlete, but I see and appreciate who the man is. Kobe was sincere. He was real. He was what he showed you. I still choose the Rockets over the Lakers all day, every day. But best believe, on that final game, when he scored 60, I stood, I applauded, I appreciated.
Hell yeah.
But what he did ultimately on the court was only a fraction of a man. He was a businessman, a media and entertainment producer, building his empire. He was a storyteller. He was a coach and a philanthropist. But above all else, he was a father. A father before everything. He didn't want to miss another moment. And he took his fatherhood as hard and as much as he did his basketball craft. Serious. The whole time, he was trying to emulate Jordan. Now, I'm trying to emulate him.
Thanks, John. I think that's what makes Kobe Bryant's legacy so important as we move forward as human beings. It was his dedication to his family and his second life that just really struck us all in the heart together. You know, thank you, John, man. That means a lot because it's very similar to how I feel about Kobe Bryant, and I know what it means to you to be a father of your 2 children, and I know that this was very hard for you, like so many others. I thank you, man. Really do, man. It means a lot. And you know, for me, this was one of the hardest things to endure because of the simple fact that what Kobe meant to myself, Daisy, and Josh. For the most of us who were born in the 80s and 90s, it was embedded in our hearts and soul that Michael Jordan was the greatest. The thought of anyone being greater was like blasphemy. And like you mentioned, all of a sudden along comes Kobe Bean Bryant in 96. You know, this young, charismatic, cocky kid with mannerisms and play of our beloved GOAT MJ, wearing the profoundly hated purple and gold. And it was almost like, how dare you? Like, how dare you try to be like Michael Jordan? You don't get that right. But 95% of us who claimed that Michael Jordan was the greatest were doing the exactly what Kobe was doing, emulating their hero. The only difference is that Kobe was and will be the only person to ever come close to being the next Mike. That's why, for me, he's the greatest of all time. He had the balls to not only be like Mike, but actually strive to even be greater, with the willingness to sacrifice anything and everything for that reality. And it's funny how life comes full circle. For many generations before who argued with conviction that Wilt Chamberlain, Dr. J, Magic Johnson were the greatest, had to eventually accept the reality that someone greater had came along. Sports. Years after Kobe's dominance, a new chosen one had emerged, and that's a 6'8" athletic freak man-child named LeBron James. But something was missing, and something didn't seem right when LeBron James came into the league. All of a sudden, a generation of MJ fans, without knowing, became Kobe fans. LeBron James is incredible, but over the years, you would hear us all talk about how he didn't have that Kobe mentality. Like we'd say stuff like about LeBron James, like he'd pass when he should have shot. He had a passive spirit when we wanted him to be that I'll do anything to win the game ferocious lion that Kobe Bryant was. And in basketball circles, when discussing LeBron James, we would also say he's not MJ and he's not Kobe. That was always a big thing we talk about. He's not MJ, he's not Kobe. The year that I became a Kobe fan was in 2009 Western Conference semifinals. After going down 1-0 to my beloved Rockets, in an attempt to avoid going down 0-2 heading back to Houston for games 3 and 4, Bryant, Kobe, he what many consider one of the greatest playoff performances of his career. He actually destroyed my Rockets. Kobe scored like 15 points during the first 12 minutes of the game. He ended up scoring a series high of 40 points as Bryant, led the Lakers to Game 2 victory and would eventually beat my Rockets in the series. But the thing that stood out the most was when Bryant was scoring and he was yelling at Doug Collins, who was the coach at the time, "He can't guard me," referring to the rumors that Shane Battier, my favorite Rocket, was the Kobe stopper.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you get a chance, go to our Instagram page, look at the story. The thing that the first game in that series, Kobe struggled. And, of course, Daryl Morey was using analytics for the first time to basically force Kobe to shoot the ball in places where he was the least efficient. And then they had Shane Battier, who knew he couldn't stop Kobe, but he thought if he would make sure that he put his hand in his face every freaking time, that it would just cause Kobe Bryant to miss. But here's the problem. Game 1, it was great. But after that, it didn't work. And it didn't matter how many times that Kobe Bryant had Shane Battier's hand in his face. It was a testimony of his hard work and dedication, because Kobe Bryant practiced that same shot over and over again, where he could have done it blindfolded and still hit the shot. Even wearing this Laker hat hurts a little bit. Because we are diehard Rockets fans. But Charles Barkley said it best: before they can truly cheer for you, they have to boo you first. I have never booed anyone more than I have booed Kobe Bryant, only to realize after that game how much I loved Kobe Bryant. Side story, a year later, I actually saw Shane Battier at Jamba Juice in the Rice Village before they closed it down. And as soon as I saw Shane Battier, I ran to him and I was like, "Shane Battier." And, he turned around with his goofy smile, and he said, "Hey." And I was like, "Hey, Shane, I just want to tell you, they're my favorite Rocket. I love the way you play defense. I love the way you play defense on Kobe Bryant. It was amazing." And he looked at me and he was, it's almost as if he was surprised that I even say that. Like, who goes to Shane Battier and started talking to him like he's a superstar. And he looked at me and he goes, "Hey man, gee, thanks. That means a lot." And he goes, "But I didn't obviously do a very good job because they still won." And when he said it to me, I just looked at him and I said, "Is Kobe Bryant that hard to hold?" And he told me that Kobe Bryant was the hardest player he's ever had to hold.
Oh snap!
Right then and there, I was like, "Man, Kobe is a god, man. He's just incredible." And the thing is about Kobe Bryant is that he impacted my life from that point on. And the thing is that a couple of days before I was turning 24, shout out to Kobe Bryant, I was at the mall and I was going to get my birthday outfit. Want to look fresh, turning 24. And I went into Champs. Not only was I going to get my birthday outfit, but at the same time, I also wanted to go in Champs and get the Kobe ones, the All-Star edition and at that time, the All-Star game was actually here in Houston, Texas. And when I went into Champs, there is this beautiful woman that I'd had a crush on my whole life in high school, Daisy Alvarez.
I was about to say.
No. And
Is she listening?
no, and she was at the shoe wall, and she so happened to be looking at shoes, and she had this special little young guy, Joshua Cruz, with her. And I went up to her and I said, "Hello, how you doing?" And she, we were chit chatting, and I saw that Josh was there, and I was like, "Hey, hi, how are you, little guy? How are you doing?" And Josh was sitting there eating these gummy sharks, right? And so, I was just trying to find a way, to find a way to bond with Josh. And I was like, "Hey, can I have one?" And Josh literally took a gummy shark, he put it in his mouth, all the way in his mouth, and then took it out and gave it to me as if to say, "Stay away from my mom." If you know the story, I actually had an opportunity to be with Daisy in high school, but unfortunately, as a young, stupid adolescent, I blew that opportunity. So Daisy was always the one that got away. So when I saw her in Champs and I saw her with Josh, all I knew was I wanted to be in their lives. She so happened to be shopping for Josh's birthday. And that's when I found out that Josh's birthday was February 25th. And I was like, "Oh, wow, my birthday's February 26th. And she's like, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that either." And so she started picking shoes on the Champs wall. And she was like, "Hey, what do you think about those?" Like, "Nah, those are ugly. Nah, those are whack." Back in the days, we used to say whack. That's how old we are. And I was like, "Ah, those are horrible." No. And like all of a sudden I was like, "Hey, why don't you get Josh these Kobe ones? These are dope." And not just that, but it's Kobe. He's the man. He's the best player. And she looked at the shoe, and of course, she looked at the price, and obviously, at the time I, kind of started vibing and kind of get the feeling that all the shoes that she was picking out had a certain price point. Obviously, her being a single mom, she couldn't just, get the most expensive shoes. So she ended up leaving Champs, and walking out. And for me, at that moment, I really realized, man, I really want to be in those guys' lives. And so I remember my mom at times when she didn't have the money and couldn't buy me any nice expensive shoes pretty much my whole life, rock Payless all the way to high school. I realized, I don't know, something just came upon me, and I decided to buy Josh those Kobe Bryants. And then I was looking all over the mall because she left, and so ended up found her in I think it was Charlotte Russe or something like the time. I think they're not longer open anymore. But I found her, and I was I just went up to her and I gave her the Champs bag, and she's like, "Hey, what is this?" I said, "That's just for Josh. Happy birthday." And she looked in, and of course it was the Kobe ones, and that was actually ended up being Josh's first Nike tennis shoe altogether, the Kobe ones. And I got myself a pair too, and after that I ended up asking her if she could be my birthday date, and she came out with me on my birthday. And that.
Did you get the shark?
With the gummy shark?
Yeah.
Hell no, I didn't give that. I didn't eat that gummy shark. I didn't. I was. Anyways, but
That's messed up, Joe.
a couple of days we just started we started hanging out even more so, and then I ended up going out with Josh and Jay-Z to, of all places, Olive Garden, his favorite place. And I actually wore my Kobe's, and he wore his Kobe's, and we matched. And right then and there, I knew that they were the perfect match for me. And the rest is history. I ended up marrying Daisy, and it's crazy. And the reason why I say Kobe impacted my life is because Josh will tell you everything in his life that's ever been a talk of wisdom, a man-to-man talk, a father and son talk, a discipline talk, always has Kobe Bryant as a reference. He'll tell you. Always. Matter of fact, this is a little parent 101 here. Josh is an incredible dancer, but every time he goes into the studio, especially when he was a little bit younger, I would always go in there and tell him, man, go in there and be like Kobe. Go in there and just kill it. Make people cry. Make people want to quit dancing. Just go in there and kill. Find the best dancer, stand right next to them, and beat them. Let them be Michael Jordan, but you be Kobe. It's always been that way. It's always been the Mamba mentality. It's always been discipline, hard work. You know, it's not about talent. You need to worry about the person who's right now that's up, you know, who's staying up longer than you, or who got up earlier than you, that may not have as much talent as you, but they're working harder because they want to beat you. You need to find a way to beat them. It's always been about that. And so for without, you know, from the bottom of my heart, I definitely want to thank Kobe, you know, for the Mamba mentality, because you became an inspiration to me, and you helped me kind of give an outline to teach, you know, my son the importance of hard work, dedication, discipline, and desire to chase and fulfill your dreams. Not really having a father in my life like John, you know, you look for role models, you look for people that can help you, guide you. And the scariest thing, if you've never done it before, you want to know what scary is? Become a husband and become a father. It's scary because you know everything you say and don't do, or you do can affect them for the rest of their lives. And the biggest insecurity is not having the proper way to learn how to be a father, and then you gotta be a father. And I'm so glad that I was able to trace that Mamba mentality to be the father that I've been to Josh. And without a doubt, Kobe's meant so much to all of us. All right, guys, so without further ado, we'd like to bring our very, very special guest. He is also one of the owners of Songbucks Dance Studios, who just recently had their 10-year anniversary, which is pretty awesome. But besides that, like I said, he is the Filipino PJ Tucker. He is the man, the myth, the legend, the greatest fantasy football league of all time. Without further ado, Mr. Calvin Iata. Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Yeah, man. It's our first guest here on the Sports Pod.
What's up, baby?
The Sports Pod.
Guys, what's up? Hello.
Sports Trapp Podcast. First guest ever. Yeah, man. Drinking that. I keep want to say Under Armour's body armor. Good Lord. Oh, no. Oh.
Kobe. Man, it's an honor to be up here. Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, man.
It's an honor to be here, guys.
yeah,
Appreciate
come
it.
up a little bit closer, man.
It's an honor to be. I'm just kidding. Is that good?
Yes, man. Yeah.
Oh, all of a sudden, they got to spread out.
Nah. I like being close to the guys. The guys think that's weird, but it is what it is. So Calvin, man,
What's up, guys? Hello, everybody.
So
you got quite a shoe collection, bud.
yeah, tell us about your shoe game, man. I know it's deep.
I appreciate it. I'm definitely not the PJ Tucker. There's other people out there. I'm just a fan, man. I'm a hooper, or try to be a hooper. So I'm super into trying all the shoes out and seeing which one fits. So if I miss a shot, which is often, I'll try and be like, this shoe doesn't work for me, so I got to get a new pair.
Yeah,
You know?
and then you sell them.
good.
And then, yeah.
That's a
Or
good
just
logic.
kinda
I like
hold
it.
there, yeah.
You know what I love about Calvin though? Like the shoes that don't work out, he actually sells at a really decent price. Like
Too decent.
Like it's actually sometimes I'm like, man, you sold them for that much, but he sells them like and like the rest of the guys actually have balling ass shoes when they come to the court because of Calvin. So he is like
Need to hoop with Calvin a little bit.
absolutely, man.
Size 10 and a half. Check my Facebook page. I'm just kidding.
If you ever want to get a size 12, let me know.
Yeah, I can't wear these because they're too big.
Yeah.
They're that big, right? So we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, guys. I
And
appreciate it.
I know your love of basketball and your passion for NBA is a pretty incredible. And I think you and I bond. I think we're all about in the same age bracket here, and I think it's cool because I know that like literally like You know, when we talk about sports, when we first met, when we talk about basketball, like one of our first conversations actually was about Kobe Bryant, besides dance. Man, I want to ask you the same thing. So, like, when did you become a Kobe fan, and when, well, I guess, what was your favorite Kobe moment? Definitely want to know what your favorite Kobe shoe is and why, and then just how much he's impacted your life as a person.
For sure. Man, so it's tough. So obviously, I love basketball. All right, so I've always been a fan. I remember watching Rockets win the championship. I think I was 10 years old when they first won. So right after that, just always been a fan of the game. Watching people get drafted, Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, all those guys. But I just became a fan of Kobe because, I mean, he could hoop, right? He's always a young kid. I think he's 5 years older than us, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, about 5 years older than us.
Us,
That's you.
collectively, us.
John's the old guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I was just a fan. I mean, if you can hoop, you can hoop. And of course, being kind of into basketball, I try to find people that I guess I would like to play like. And I love Kobe because, I mean, he was dunking on people and everything like that, but he has so much finesse. His footwork already at a young age. Kind of, I think y'all mentioned it, his brash kind of confidence on court is, you know, he was undersized obviously when he came in, but, you know, he wasn't scared of anybody. But I think, honestly, first time I was a fan was when I found out he took Brandy to prom. I don't know if y'all remember that, because as a 17-year-old guy
I do.
with a lot of money and in the league, I mean, what else are you going to do?
What else would you do?
Take your celebrity crush to the prom.
Hell yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And then I was like, okay, this guy's got a lot of personality, character. And that was like my first kind of like, okay, cool. Let me check this guy out. And just everything Kobe did was cool. You know, I mean, I'm a super diehard Rockets fan. I mean, growing into basketball, Larry Bird was actually my first favorite player outside of the Rockets.
Nice.
But Kobe was just cool, man. Everything he did was cool. So it kind of sucked that I liked him, but I hated that he would always beat our Rockets teams, and it would be very depressing. But
did you like him as a rapper too?
I did not really listen to that much. I think at that age, dude, I was listening to like Green Day.
Oh,
and
shit.
I don't know if that's the same time frame, and 311. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, all mixed up. That's like one of the only songs I remember. But yeah, that was my little phase back then.
They were definitely better than him, and the musical standpoint than
So you would take different aspects of his game and you would try to incorporate it in yours?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Of course, you know, like I'm a little bigger now after some years of life and maturity, but I was smaller. I was definitely undersized back then, and I pride myself on being a shooter because I couldn't drive into the lane. But so I would like the shooters like Glenn Rice, Chris Mullin, Reggie Miller. But something about Kobe was that he could do that, and he can go into the lane and then dunk on you and just play aggressive. So I was like, okay, that's why I kind of feel like this guy's going to be super good one day. And then that's why I really appreciate his game, because it's all around, right?
Yeah, they say he didn't have any weaknesses on offense.
Right.
You couldn't, like, he could post you up. He could shoot the three. He could shoot a mid-range. He could shoot a fadeaway. He could shoot free throws. And, of course, he could dunk.
Right.
You know, there was no holes in his game.
None. And, you know, you look at people now like Russell Westbrook. Oh, you know, he can slash, but can he shoot? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
James Harden, you know, he can score, but can he really, like, just take over like a Giannis? And, you know, just kind of like imbalance. I think KD is probably the most well-rounded. But something about Kobe, it's like MJ. You know, he can score anywhere he wants on the court, play defense, and he was bold, man. You know, like, he's just so much confidence.
So which of all the shoes is your actual favorite to play in?
To play in. So for me personally, the Kobe ones for sure. First started off, they are a big heavy tank, right? I think you mentioned it. The foot gets sweaty and everything, but they're secure. You know, once your foot is in here, you think this little thing back here doesn't give you support, but this whole thing was super good. But overall, from top to bottom, Kobe 6s. I don't have them out here. I had a couple pairs I just beat up. I actually used those so much for everything that I just didn't even get a chance to collect it. Kobe 6s. I didn't buy any Kobe's since the 1 until the 6. For some reason, I don't know what I was into. Maybe I was trying to rollerblade or something. I don't know. Something in my life changed, and I was like switching lifestyles here. But yeah, Kobe 6s were the best. I mean, people are gonna say Kobe 1s, any 4, 5, 6, and then of course 8s. Eights were great. I think every
ones are
hooper
the
out there.
eights?
So the Easter eights and those orange ones.
Great
These are the
shoe.
great shoe.
Great
like
shoe.
I think they're modeled after soccer shoes, so that's why
Yep.
they're so flat. But when you're a big boy trying to hoop, that cushion doesn't hold up for very long. So that's why I like something like this.
And by the way, all our views out there, if you're wondering if it smells like Foot Locker in here, it does not. Actually, actually smells pretty good here. You know?
Yeah.
So if you had one Kobe shoe, I'm talking about to wear every day for the rest of your life, and I'm not talking about hooping. I'm talking
Right.
about walking, working, dancing, everything. What do you want on your feet to make you look fly?
Man, so the colorway, see that's the thing with Nike basketball. If you're into Nike basketball back then, all those colorways had like stories and backlines and everything
Yeah.
like that. So, you believed in all of that stuff. But for me, comfort, man, that's the biggest thing, comfort. So I had to pick something like the 8s because they came out with the Lunar Lawn. But I think right there, right in front of that camera, Kobe 9s, the Beethovens. It's a little bit heavier, denser, such a clean colorway. So they all have these things called drop-in midsoles here.
That was a new thing too for Nike. when
Yeah,
they did that. That was so tight.
basically the shoe, I'm turning into Nightwing over here.
Yeah, hell
What
yeah!
up,
Shout out Nightwing. Hell yeah!
03.
Hell yeah!
The insole was a drop-in. So inside, there's nothing there, and then this is your cushion.
That's your
So no
cushion.
zoom, nothing like that.
okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool, and it's
Could you like if once your cushion of that goes out, you could
in
like,
a sense, yeah, replace, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely, and it's crazy because Nightwing would always say this, and I did the exact same thing. Is that you could literally take your cushion out of the Kobe's and put it in one of your other favorite shoes, and it worked just as good.
Oh no way.
Hell yeah!
Oh,
man.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So can you still get something like this?
I think they might have some off brands like on Amazon and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Or they,
That's
other things.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chinese market, you can do that. You can.
I think
I've seen it.
No, you don't want to do that right now.
Because it made the shoe super light, you know, and then
yeah.
that was kind of a thing changing. Big men wanted like big, like look at this tank and these Kobe 2s
Yeah.
want a lot of ankle support. But then when you get something like this, it's lighter. I think Kobe. One thing that struck me about his shoes, he wanted lower cut profile shoes because he said it was just like soccer.
Right.
Soccer people play, they run, cut, they do everything, they jump. Why can't they have lower cut shoes? And they're not
Right,
high
right.
tops too. So I was like, that's a revolutionary statement there.
Absolutely, and a lot of people don't know this. I mean, if you're a Kobe fan, you know this. But I mean, one of his first passions was soccer when he lived in Italy. AC Milan, Barcelona. AC Milan was his favorite team. He was a big soccer head, and I think that was the thing. He went to Nike, especially when the Force came out, and he was like, "Hey, man, I want a lower profile shoe. Like, if soccer players can move laterally without,
Rolling their ankles.
wrinkle the
stuff
ankle,
like
why
that.
can't we do that?" in
Can I ask
basketball?
you something on the topic of shoes?
Yeah. I'm here.
How, like, Adidas is huge right now.
Yeah.
It's taking on the shoe game for, like, to another level. And just as much as Nike has transformed the shoe game,
Right.
it took it from one level to the next, Adidas doing it with the foam and the
boost.
comfort and
The
the
boost,
boost that
yeah.
they're using. So how good were the Kobe's Adidas back in the day when he did the crazy 8s, when he did the Audis?
Those cold. Those are cold, man. I actually think they were pretty cold. Back then, they kind of seemed
Yeah.
ugly, but
Yeah, they're definitely in a league of its own at the time. It was very revolutionary. I know Kobe was only with Adidas for so long. The very first pair of shoes I got was Adidas Kobe 2. The Super Moon Boot, the ugly one.
yeah, those are
Right.
dope.
Okay,
though.
I'm drawing a blank on the Kobe. The Kobe ones with the crazy 8s, right?
No. Those are just
For
the-
Adidas, as far
those
as
are crazy.
Adidas is concerned.
They weren't a Kobe line.
Oh, they weren't?
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of like those were his shoes, but they didn't call it Kobe. Does that makes
Got
sense?
you. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the Kobe. Okay, I see
yeah.
what you're saying. They weren't signature.
Yeah,
shoes.
It didn't say Kobe just yet. It
Right,
was,
right.
It was a Kobe 1s and then Kobe 2s that he
So
started finding
the
an actual
Kobe
Kobe
2s are
name.
which ones?
It looks like a spaceship boot.
Yeah.
No, that was the Audi ones, right?
Well,
yeah, those are
No,
okay.
they both are very
yeah,
similar.
they're both similar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me see if I can
So
pull it up here.
I've actually heard the best basketball shoe. Maybe time has changed to this point, but the best basketball shoe that athletes actually worn are the Crazy 8s.
Yeah, I've heard that.
A lot of athletes like the Crazy 8s because they that was a whole time when Adidas came out with the feet you wear type of profile. So basically, the bottom of the insole was kind of catered to your feet. So especially because now when we talk about basketball, everybody wants to have that court feel. So they had the most court feel without all the cushion, you know. So. But he can show you a picture.
But here, so this was the Kobe 1 with the indentions, and then Kobe 2.
Got you.
So
So the Kobe ones kind of started with the little bit of the shape
That
of
spaceship
that
look.
spaceship, but the Kobe 2s went all out with the
Yeah.
whole what is that? There's a movie out with the spaceship and the little boy. I can't remember what it is. Flight of navigation or something. Anyways,
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Because Anakin Skywalker.
Star Wars.
But yeah, no, those
Yeah.
I remember those completely.
So
Look like little cars on your feet.
Yeah, exactly. And I just remember, I think they came out when I was in, right when I graduated high school.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I did, because we found out since we had a car, we actually drove to the outlet. And they were at the outlet for $40.
That's right.
What?
So me and my homie, my
Wow.
roommates, and my best friends at the time, we would go and we just like, yo, these Kobe's only like $40. I was like, yo, we can buy these. So we bought them. And I remember every time I hooped at it, there was always one person who rolled their ankle on my shoe because they were so big and bulky.
So big and bulky. I tried to pair on. They were
Anyone
pretty
trying
gangster.
to play defense, get a rebound, roll their ankle.
Bro, there you go.
Wow.
So I had to stop because I was hurting other people with these shoes. But yeah, I still have my pair too. It's still at home, chipping away. But
I want to know. I'm sorry to be a bummer.
No,
but I want to know, because this is to me one of the moments that you know where you were when you first heard it.
right.
How did you receive the news? And
No, for sure. So obviously Sunday afternoon, it's a late start for me. I work every day of the week except for Sunday. So I got the news. I just happened to wake up and check my Instagram, and then I saw 2 posts. It was actually from Gary V, the motivational speaker guy.
yeah.
And then it said 5 minutes ago, and I see heartbreak emojis and Kobe's face on it. And then I go to our group chat, our sports group chat with all our friends. Yo, y'all hearing this about Kobe? And then, oh no, it's fake, man. People saying that it's they got hacked and everything. So I'm sitting in bed for like 2-3 hours just trying to look through stuff, and then just like, please don't show it on TV, please. And then people start posting, and of course the internet is pretty intense, and they're gonna say anything and they're gonna spread the news. But yeah, I saw it. I think I was watching Pro Bowl stuff, and I was like, okay, please don't say it on there. And then they did breaking news, and I was like, damn, this is it, and then you're just there, you're just in bed, you're like, is this for real? You know what I mean?
it was a weird, surreal moment,
Right.
in my opinion. One, you're like hoping against hope that it's a hoax,
Right.
And then it gets confirmed after so long, because TMZ was actually the first ones to report it, and you like TMZ. That's kind of like a tabloid, I guess, if you want to say, but they've had a good track record,
Right.
As of late, at least. I don't know from the beginning, but it was almost like, okay, but maybe again, hope against hope.
Right.
It's wrong. And so after it settles in and you get more news outlets coming out and confirming this, and I even held off, because like, even if ABC came out and confirmed it, I was like, no, ESPN has got to be the one that does it, right? So then when you were saying you're watching the Pro Bowl stuff, and I'm just like flicking through channels, looking at CNBC, CNN. I even went to Fox News just real quick, and then when ESPN actually they got the news, that's when it sunk. But it was so surreal that it just, the whole day was unreal. It was just weird in a horrible way. And then the way the news cycle happens, and a lot of people, to me, they are so upset. Even the sheriff, when he came out and confirmed it, basically, about the crash, he didn't even confirm Kobe, but even when the sheriff came down and confirmed the crash, he even called out TMZ for not having, I guess,
rightfully so,
ethics. But here's the thing, and I understand. Hey, listen, it's okay to be angry and upset. And look, man, as a family, you never want to get something like that in that way. First of all, you never want to get that news, period. But that way, in that manner, through something that is, in the realm of media, you would never want to receive the news the way that they did. Apparently, the family did receive the news by TMZ, social media. But today's day and age, man, it's just information travels so fast. It's hard for us to take that break and say, you know what, this isn't ethical. I don't have any problem with it, to be honest with you, as long as you can back it up by sources. If you're irresponsibly putting out, and I'm gonna call, I can't say his name, but I'm gonna call whoever put out the statement that his entire family was actually on the helicopter. That was uncalled for. That was unnecessary. And then you had reports that Rick Fox was on there.
Yeah, I mean it's funny because we live in that clout. We live in that clout world. Everybody's chasing clout. Everybody wants to be the first one to break something or the first person to expose something. And it's just like, for what cause? Like, if it's not gonna do any justice or any good, like I just know that if I was a reporter, like for me, if I know the family doesn't know, I'm sitting on it. And that's just me as a man.
Right.
Because I would just hope that if something happened to me, that my wife would find out from the right people as opposed to finding on TV.
What is the right people?
The investigation needed to be completely done. I mean, you have to come from the sheriff themselves. Listen, nobody wants to hear that news. What I'm saying is, like, no one should have people who you don't even know in social media. Hey, is your husband dead? Is your daughter dead? That's just horrible. You know what I mean? Anyways, that part of it's sad. And
I do think that, it's okay to be angry, but it's like asking a tiger to change its stripes, when it comes to news,
right?
And what they do.
Shock value, man.
And interesting that we're still on social media trying to find confirmation as well. Like, once what Wojcicki reported was a launch bomb. We're like,
that's you know what? That's so funny, because that was the one person that to this day I trust the most. Mm-hmm. When Adrian Wojnarowski, when he put it out on a tweet, dude, my heart sank. But because I knew that was stamped, sealed, and there was no turning back from there. But I'll say this, and as far as the media is concerned, and my condolences to everybody involved. One of the things that's so great about the media nowadays, especially when it comes to Kobe Bryant and Gianna, there's just so much content out there.
So many great stories.
So many great stories. He was on, I want to say, Jimmy Kimmel. Or
it was Jimmy Kimmel.
I think he was on there 13 times.
13 times. Actually, right? 15 times. Okay. 15, yeah.
So he was on the other Jimmy.
Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon 13 times.
Yeah.
He was on Ellen. He was on The View. And that's just stuff that's in the public eye, But then, he has we brought up his little movie. He has things that he has left his footprint on, that his family and his loved ones can hold on to. That's something that today's day and age, it reminded me about Roberto Clemente, somebody that was so philanthropic, so giving to his community and everybody that he surrounded. One of the greatest things I think he does was he has that foundation. He has Mamba Academy. He's a coach. He's all about, even the cartoon, the movie that he did, it was geared towards children. He had such a big heart for kids that, to me, I take that and I'm gonna run with it. He. But what I was gonna say was, just real quick, Roberto Clemente was something very similar like that. He had that philanthropic heart, and he was actually on his way to run his, I want to say, academy. I think it was Puerto Rico or something, but his plane crashed. The problem with that is, it's just as sad a story, and just, from what all accounts, he's just as good as a man. There's no footprint. There's nothing that we can go back and watch without we didn't have those types of interviews. He didn't have the media available for his family other than his personal items and maybe a couple clips of highlights and stuff like that. But that's it. Kobe has left such a big footprint for everybody to grab onto and have those lasting memories. And I I'm blessed to be in this era.
Absolutely. I really also want to touch something that I think that now that Kobe's passing, and you know what kind of man you are when you pass, and everyone has the most incredible stories about you. We're hearing stories left from right. They're just so inspirational. 100. The one thing to me that stood out the most about Kobe Bryant was what he did for little girls and women's basketball out there as a whole, and what he did for these women out there to empower them. And I really wanted to bring you on here to Calvin, not just for the simple fact of the tennis shoes and your love for Kobe and basketball, but I know that there's a very special place in your heart, the Lady Rascals, and those ladies that you have helped and basically took under your wing and created this incredible dance team at Soundbox.
What are they called again?
Lady Rascals. I wanted to know, like, watching Kobe Bryant and the way he interacted not only with his daughter but other young ladies, the way he was with the WNBA players who just love him so much, and then even the girls who are in college basketball. How has Lady Rascals changed your life, not only as a man and the way you coach or the way you try to guide women, but just how has it helped you as a man to just be a lot more sensitive to, you know, a lot of the adversity that women deal with on a regular basis?
Oh man, I mean that's a super good point. Like, like Kobe's relationship with his daughters, and I did follow along with that. It makes a lot of sense with me dealing with Lady Rascals, which is like a junior team for those who don't know, like teenage girls at Soundbox Studios. It's tough, I didn't get put in that situation because I was good at it or anything. You just kind of have to grow and learn as you go, and you make mistakes and you kind of figure it out. But and I know you probably saw the interview about Kobe being a girl dad. I mean, I think every person should be a girl dad.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Shout out to all the girls' dads.
Yeah.
Out there.
So, yeah, Josh.
No.
But no, yeah, for sure. Because definitely there should be some kind of empowerment. It's very easy, especially with all the stigmas and stereotypes, to just kind of like downplay women's sports and stuff like that. And even in the dance world, kind of Lady Rascals sometimes are often kind of looked at as underdogs and everything. But it was very inspiring and fulfilling to see kind of that bond he built with Gigi, and just kind of like, because it didn't matter if it was a son and daughter or a mother and father. It was just that bond of like older person, younger person, just kind of bridging the generations. And that's how I feel too, kind of with the girls teams and all the Lady Rascals, sharing just whatever I learned through dance, from my experiences and whatever little bit that I know that I can just kind of pass along. It was very heartwarming to see that relationship with Gigi and Kobe. So I definitely kind of like embodied that to try and go. But that's why it's so tragic. I get choked up. By no means, I'm no father. And, a lot of respects to you guys for the responsibilities and the task and the challenges y'all have. So, but I do feel that bond of like kind of watching these girls grow up. A lot of them, have joined since they were 13, 14. Now they're all in college and working and everything like that. Wow. You watch them grow. And everything like that, and that's what's so fulfilling, especially about this last birthday bash.
Yeah,
you see a lot of these kids come back, and they have 9 to 5s and making way more money than I am, and but you're proud, because it's like, Calvin, you kind of did your job or did some good job because they're successful, and that's all you care about. Being a parent or being an older person, older mentor in someone's life, is that you want them to do good, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's the most heartbreaking for me, is to see, like, man, as a basketball fan, I was excited to see Gigi take over the world.
Hell yeah. She looked like she was going to be cold from all accounts.
Exactly.
Man.
And just, and then, of course, it doesn't matter but the hooping part, but just a 13-year-old,
Yeah.
And it's just heartbreaking to see it just end that way. So,
I asked that too because, like, when in Birthday Bash, and I saw a lot of those young ladies come back, and I saw how raw and emotional you were, it reminded me of a proud father. And that got me all emotional, by the way. You suck. Anyways, at the end of the day, I think that it's interesting because I know Kobe had just discussed And we were actually going to talk about it last podcast. We didn't get a chance to, and I was going to bring it up this one. The next podcast was the fact that Kobe felt in his heart of hearts that there was going to be a woman in the NBA. He felt that they were good enough to be in the NBA, and I know deep down inside he believed that his daughter was going to be in the NBA. Sure the hell she knew she was going to be in the WNBA, and I just think like if there's one of the things, even if you're not a basketball fan, maybe you're not even a sports fan, you got to understand that Kobe Bryant, with the voice that he had and the influence he had, was all in on women's sports and just the empowerment of women. And us as men, you are a father of a daughter. You coach young ladies. I hope to have a daughter one day. It is important as men that we don't put boundaries or borders or walls on our women, that we treat them like our sons, and we tell them that they can be anything and everything that they want to be. And that's what made that relationship. I think that's why so many people took it so badly in pain and heart in their hearts, because of how we saw he was with Gigi. And of course he had a special relationship with all his daughters. It was different, but it was very, very powerful. So yes, men out there, please, we got to do a better job at empowering our women. They can be anything and do anything. We just got to be the ones that take away those walls and encouraging. And then, thank you so much for coming on the show and being a part of this tribute to Kobe Bryant. Before I say something, I definitely want to give you guys the opportunity to kind of, if there's anything you want to say or any feelings or hell, whatever you want to say that it, by any means would be to Kobe or his family or the families that were lost. So, go ahead.
No, I mean, first off, thank you guys for having me. It's just as being a Kobe fan in general, it's tough, but Kobe did his job for the world in the basketball world, so, there's some kind of closure for that. It sucks because he was about to make another world that we're all going to experience, with his author, his books and Mamba Academy and just everything he's doing. But, my prayers go out to all the families. I know some of them, I think a brother and sister lost their parents and another sister and
whole
everything
family.
like that. So, just the thought of that, like the basketball world will miss you, Kobe, but I don't think anything can compare to missing a parent and growing up without that. So, my prayers are definitely for those families. But
Absolutely.
it's just, we all love Kobe and we all love family, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the most important thing. Is just, I'm super happy that the media is showing the father side of Kobe.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we need, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you
for
said,
sure.
the women empowerment, that's what we need. We don't need to remember his fadeaways and, the tenacity. That's great and that's good. Sports will be there, but like being a father, and being okay with whatever life gives you, whether it's 4 daughters, 4 sons, whatever it is, just be happy because you have that, and because it can be taken away at any moment. So, I'm sorry to hear everything, but I'm so thankful for everything. And I just hope everyone out there is going to be okay.
Yeah.
And we will. So.
I know. The next day, man, I was so motivated. I was so motivated to become a better person, to be a better father, to take that Mamba mentality and use it within my own realm of what I do. I want to be better for the show. I want to just take it to another level. So, I had a tough time adjusting. One thing that I kind of want to close this on and made me feel better. I don't know if anybody else needs to hear this, but having, of course, being a father, having not just your father, your Kobe, but his daughter go. Bad Bunny had a song, and it's in Spanish, but I'll translate it this way. He said, "At first, I felt bad about Gianna, but then I realized God wanted Kobe to play basketball in heaven with somebody." So that made me feel somewhat of some comfort. It's tough to have them both go, but man, they it's a blessing that they touch some of your lives. I'll say that much. Everybody that they have affected, you can see it. He transcended borders. He transcended countries. He transcended languages, And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for having that type of player as, I said it before there are no role models, but he was a role model for me. For sure. So I ended with that.
Absolutely. Golly, man. I want to say thank you, Calvin, for coming on the show. It's awesome to have you here, and hopefully have you here in the future. When we talked about fantasy football, although I said I'm retiring, that's not true. John, I also want to say, man, thank you so much for the beginning and the message you shared as a father of a daughter is very powerful, and I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to kind of guide us on this Kobe tribute. It meant something to me. I asked John to please let me kind of guide us and kind of be the narrator here because it will allow me to focus and not run wild in my thoughts and become extremely emotional because it was a very hard loss for me and my family. I definitely want to close this out by just saying that, it's the one thing that you can control. You're responsible for how people remember you or don't. So don't take it lightly. That's Kobe Bryant. I thought Kobe Bryant would be here forever. And we all did. A moment that I received that text that Kobe was killed in a helicopter crash, I froze in denial. I didn't want to believe nor accept it. Like almost everyone, I rebuked those reports. As the reports kept flooding in and social media and the reality finally set in, the truth could no longer be denied. We not only lost Kobe Bryant and his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, but we lost mothers, fathers, coaches, best friends to a horrific tragedy. We all take seconds for granted. We are so busy trying to make moments that we don't truly enjoy life and the people we love. We make excuses every day to be great. We find reasons to quit or to give up. Kobe said, everything negative, pressure, challenges, it's an opportunity for me to rise. The death of our loved ones are not only reminders to cherish every second life gives you, but it's also to reflect on who you are and who you want to be. I might have wanted to be like Mike on the court, but as a man in life, I want to be like Kobe. His pursuit of greatness is something we all aspire to be. His discipline, his sacrifice was unmatched. But he was more than just that. Through his success, failure, strengths, and weaknesses, he showed us to never give up, to continue to work on being better versions of yourself. I love watching him on the basketball court, but even more so as a father and a husband. Our hearts and prayers go out to his and the other families impacted by this horrific tragedy. Kobe meant the world to everyone. Let's all continue to live that Mamba mentality and to be the absolute best versions of ourselves. Thank you, Kobe. You will not be forgotten. I thought we could end tonight by, doing something that us ballers like to do on the court and, maybe scrunching some papers here and take our last shots.
All right.
Making sure that when we shoot our last shots, that we make sure that we all yell out Kobe. Because that's what we used to do back in the days, man. 20-hour fair fitness. Kobe!
I still do it. All right.
Josh,
You ready?
Come on, Josh.
Count down.
Come on, Josh.
Come on, Josh. You got to get up in here too, man. We're going to do this, man.
This is our production team. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a blessed time and opportunity to do this, so thank you so much. Again, condolences to everybody involved. Man, I don't know how else to say this, but man, as much as I can love somebody I've never met, I love what you represented, Kobe.
Hell
All right?
yeah.
Mamba out. 1, 2, 3.
Kobe!
Kobe.
I just want to take this last time out to do 24 second in honor of his number. Moment of silence. Thank you, Kobe.
Thank you, Kobe. This is the Sports Trapp Podcast. And we just want to say thank you so much. Love your life. Love your family. Be better versions of yourself. Mamba mentality always, forever. God bless everyone. Peace.